This video is brought to you by the Raven Space Patreon page. Without your help, we cannot do any of the cool things we do, so Patreon allows you to support us and support independent media. And when you support us, we support you by giving you early access to videos, special giveaways, and even Ravens tickets. So check out the Raven Space Patreon and support today. Welcome to the Raven Space on YouTube. My name is Jason and this is Raven Space Mailbag, where we answer your questions about the Baltimore Ravens. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please subscribe to Raven Space on YouTube if you're not yet subscribed. Also, a special shout out to our Patreon subscribers, because without you guys, none of this is possible. So thank you guys so much. We have some great questions from you, the Raven Space community, and if you guys want to send in questions, please send them to mailbag@theravenspace.com. It is in the description below. We want to hear your questions, and your questions make this show. So please send those in. Now we're going to go with the first question, and this question comes from Nick, and Nick asks, with Zutai being cut, does that mean that Hurst will be the starter? Thank you so much for your question, Nick. And the answer is yes. In my opinion, yes. They played with Hurst a little bit at guard in the preseason, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think you have an offensive line that's going to look like this. You have Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. You got James Hurst at left guard. You have Ryan Jensen at center. At right guard, you have Marshall Yonda, and at right tackle, you have Austin Howard. And I think that is going to be the offensive line that the Ravens will go into regular season with. Am I a little concerned? Yes. I do not think Hurst is a great tackle, but I do think he played better at guard than he did at tackle, which is a good thing. I do not think Jensen's an elite center, but I do think Jensen is feasible. He can get the job done, especially with Marshall Yonda on that on his right side helping him out. So we don't know how they'll mesh together yet, because I have concern about a lot of positions. The only two positions I feel safe about is Marshall Yonda at the right guard and Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. I don't feel good about Hurst at left guard. I don't feel 100% good with Jensen at center, and I don't feel 100% good with Austin Howard at right tackle because he struggled in the preseason, and that's just the honest assessment of what I think happened. Now, if they all can gel, we've seen this before where Ravens offensive lines, though they're not great, they gel toward the end of the season, and then the Ravens go on a run. That's how we won the Super Bowl with the likes of Brian McKinney, right? People gelled and everything fit, and then everything was good. So I think that is the best chance that we have as Ravens fans to have a good offensive line, because I don't think singly each of these people are super skilled. The main ones I think are super skilled is Marshall Yonda, and I think that we have a left tackle that's still growing. So I'm excited to see what happens, but I am a little concerned that Hurst will be the starter, because I think he will. Zutai could not make the team, which is surprising, but it happened. So thank you so much for your question, Nick, and we're going to move on to the next question. And this question comes from Ray, and Ray asks, I'm just not confident in Campanero's return ability. Do you think the Ravens should have kept Keenan Reynolds? Thank you so much for your question, Ray. And I see where you're going when you say not confident. I think you mean that he's not really making big plays as a returner. He's safe, right? And that's where you got to find your confidence in Campanero. Last year, he did struggle sometimes making decisions in punt situations. But on the whole, he makes good decisions. He catches the ball cleanly, and he'll get you an extra 10 yards on return, which is not a bad thing. Now I know we want what we had before. We want a Jacoby type player, and it's weird to know there's a mold of a player in the form of Jacoby Jones, but you want a Jacoby type player who, when he touches the ball, a big play can happen. And I don't feel that way with Campanero. I felt a little bit more like that with Keenan Reynolds, but Campanero just doesn't have the speed to put the ball in the end zone from a return perspective. And we know that because he has 0 return touchdowns, punts, or kickoffs. So it's going to be a work in progress with this team. And I think returner is one of those places. Jerry Rosburg is one of the best special teams coaches in the NFL. And I think that he really can push Campanero to better heights. Will Campanero ever be Jacoby Jones? No, probably not. But can Campanero be a player that can get you the ball safely, give you 10, 15, 20 yards, and give you a chance to win games using your offense, yes, he can. He won't make mistakes. And that was Keenan Reynolds' biggest foible, is that he made a mistake when he was trying to push it. And you can't do that in the NFL. I do feel bad for Keenan Reynolds, and I don't want to say the Ravens should have kept him because he did it to himself. You have to fair catch it. He didn't. He got rocked. The ball hit the ground, and he's going to be on the practice squad once again. So thank you so much for your question, Ray, and we're going to move on to the next one. And this question comes from Cronus, and Cronus asks, do you think Jeremy Maclin will be used strictly as a slot receiver, or will he also be expected to catch deep passes? Thank you so much for your question, Cronus. And the answer is deep passes and short passes and everything. If you watch Jeremy Maclin when he was in Philadelphia and Kansas City, he did it all. I mean, he ran every single route. He played every single receiving position. And it's simply just because he's that talented at route running that he can do all of that. And I think the Ravens are going to ask him to do all that. If he only runs short routes, then we might have a problem, because that's what we saw last year, where we all only ran short routes except for Brashard Perriman. He's the only person that ran down the field, more than once a game. And so we got to see how things work. He runs deep breaking routes versus a Mike Wallace who runs short breaking routes. So, for example, Mike Wallace runs slants, outs, stuff like that. Where we have Jeremy Maclin who can run post and corners and different things like that. So if that can work for the Ravens, then we have something special. I'm excited to see Jeremy Maclin because he can add another dimension to the team. If Perriman is healthy and if Wallace is healthy, then you have three receivers, in my opinion, who are starters in the NFL, which the Ravens have seldom ever had. And I want to see how this plays out. I really do think that Jeremy Maclin is a star. I think that last year he was injured. I think that this will be a year that everyone will see that he is a number one receiver in the NFL and that he can play at the top levels in this league. So I'm excited to see him play. I want to see how it happens. He'll be running both slot receiver routes that we're used to, like slants and drags and different things like that, and zigs. But he'll also be running those plays that we're used to the top receivers in the NFL running, like Antonio Brown when they go deep, and different things like that. So I'm excited to see what happens. I think Jeremy Maclin will be a very good part of our offense, and I think he, with Joe Flacco, helps rise this offense. Maybe not to a top 10 offense, but we won't be as bad as we were last year for sure. So thank you so much for your question, Chrominus. And we're going to move on to the last question of the day. Please remember to send your questions in to mailbag@theravenspace.com, just like Andre did. And Andre's question is, are you more or less confident in the Ravens' playoff chances after the preseason? Thank you so much for your question, Andre. And the answer is more, marginally. And that's only because of the defense. I did not expect the defense to be this good. I knew the defense was going to be very excellent. I did not expect them to be all-stars all over the field. Even from the likes of a Tyus Bowser, who came in, and you can automatically see his impact. You can automatically see the way he plays the game. You can see what makes him special. And, you don't really see that a lot, right? For rookies, you can see, oh, that's why people loved his zone coverage, because he plays great zone coverage even in the NFL. And it's awesome to see that. I think the defense right now are going to be a top 3 defense. It seems like the rest of the league is sleeping on the Ravens defense, but they're going to be a top 3 defense. The offense looked terrible all preseason. I'm very nervous. Hopefully Joe Flacco is the key to make this all work. And if he is, then we have further confirmation that, you need at least a good quarterback to make it to the playoffs. Because if they had Ryan Mallett in that quarterback and the Ravens defense were only letting opponents get 14 points a game, I would be very, very concerned if the Ravens can get there. So Ryan Mallett looked bad. Josh Woodrum was good against backups, but when he played against the starters, he looked very average. Thad Lewis, who they released, I was surprised that anyone could be worse than Ryan Mallett. He was. And it's just a lot on offense that needs to be resolved. The offensive line it is very patchy. If we don't have Joe Flacco, quarterback is very patchy. And to me, the running backs are very okay. None of them are superstars. And so if the receivers and Joe Flacco don't push this team up, then I'm not sure who's going to push the team up, because the defense can't score 15, 17 points for you. They can stop people and hold them under 14, but you got to do the rest on offense. So I am more confident because of how good our defense was, but it's not much more confident because the offense was so bad it dropped it down a little bit for me. So thank you so much for your question, Andre. And this has been another episode of Raven Space Mailbag. Thank you guys so much for sending in your questions and for watching. Please subscribe to Raven Space on YouTube if you're a true Baltimore Ravens fan. Also, if you want to help support us and support independent media to make the best Baltimore Ravens community we can, please check us out on Patreon, and you can help support us. At the very end of the video, you'll see a button, and you can also check out the description below. And also, if you want to support us another way and buy a cool t-shirt, check this t-shirt out at the Raven Space t-shirt store. The description, also in the link below. So thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate it. And go Ravens.